Hello and welcome back, CruiseHols, or hello if you're new to this channel, where in this video I bring you the third part of my Patagonia and Antarctica trip report, where so far I have explored the Argentine capital city of Buenos Aires, headed to the beautiful city of Tigre, boarded the Sapphire Princess, and set sail on our adventure. Where in this part of the series I give you an insight into what it's like to enjoy Christmas at sea with the Princess Cruise Line. So if that sounds of interest to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. And without further ado, my name is Darren, and this is the third part of my Patagonia and Antarctic trip report. So I would now have 3 days at sea, which would coincide with the Christmas period, as the 3 days would be the 24th, the 25th and the 26th of December. And to be honest, before I got to experience it, I was unsure as to whether I would like being on the cruise over Christmas. That's because it's just me and my wife and we don't have any kids, but we would be leaving family at home and missing out on our usual Christmas traditions. Cruise wise, we didn't actually get all that far before we woke up on the 24th. As not only did we have a delayed departure from Buenos Aires, but the first few hours were spent sailing on the Rio de la Plata, where a ship the size of the Sapphire can only sail at around 7 knots, but we would soon get up to 22 knots as we continue to head south. That slow start did mean it stayed nice and warm for our first day at sea, so I would spend much of it in the morning on the upper decks and making the most of that weather and the blue skies. In the afternoon, I would head down to the international dining room for afternoon tea. This was something that me and my wife had heard about before sailing with Princess, and was something that we wanted to try. But overall, it was disappointing, to be honest. Me and my wife love an afternoon tea, and have enjoyed our fair share of them. But with Princess, it just misses out on every element that makes an afternoon tea different, including getting it on a cake stand and having teapots for your tea. So to be honest, you're better off just heading to the international cafe, where you can get the same food, but you can get it when you want it. As for the organised afternoon tea, you need to be there at 3 PM and sit with others. After that, I would nip upstairs to see what was on offer in the buffet for Christmas lunch, which, to be honest, looked a decent offering, and probably better than the afternoon tea. Whilst back downstairs, there were some family activities starting to happen in the atrium, which did have lots of decorations, including a gingerbread house village. In the staterooms themselves, the line had put some Christmassy things on the room televisions, including some Christmas songs, some fireplace videos, and much more, which did make things feel a little bit more Christmassy as you got changed. But with the weather in the high 20 degrees Celsius, it was difficult to feel too much of the Christmas spirit, especially for us Northern Europeans. Our Christmas Eve night started off by watching the Captain Champagne waterfall. Then we would listen to some Christmas carols before heading into the theatre for a production show. We finished off the night with a quick walk around the promenade and then listening to some music in the atrium. So now it was time for the big event itself, Christmas Day, which for me and my wife started with video calls home, including spending around 1.5 hours speaking to our young niece, and credit should be given to Princess as the internet stayed strong for the whole time. After that, it was up to the buffet for a quick bite to eat. And if you're a lover of seafood, you were in for a treat this day. For those who are travelling as a family, there were plenty of activities offered, including a holly jolly sweater party, the chance to meet Santa, a family festival and a festive sing-along, whilst there were also interdenominational Christmas services for any Christians on board. But for the rest of us and for those not celebrating the holiday, there was plenty of regular activities on offer. So we grabbed a quick ice cream, head back to our cabin to get changed for Christmas dinner in the main dining room, and to be honest, again, it was decent but not great. Aside from being a turkey dinner, there wasn't anything special about Christmas dinner in the MDR. There was no crackers, there was only little decoration around the place, and there was none of those little extras that you love about a Christmas dinner. And also the meal itself wasn't as good as the first one that we'd had in the same dining room. Although my dessert, which was called a Santa hat, was delicious. In the theatre, there was a Christmas production show known as Holiday Wishes, which was absolutely packed out, and they even simulcast it in the Explorer's Lounge for those who couldn't get a seat, the first time I had known of this sort of thing happening. It was a fun show, but again, it was quite similar to the other shows that we saw. I should add that it was great to see the Princess still have live musicians in the theatre. And it was also good to see some of the regular members of staff getting involved in the theatre production. With that said, it was back up to the buffet for a nightcap, where we saw a Santa ice sculpture that had been made before retiring to bed. We had been heading south for pretty much 2 days now, and things were gradually getting colder and colder, but once we woke up on Boxing Day, it was now time to change out of our summer clothes and bring out our winter stuff, which led us having to do some repacking and unpacking before having a bit of a laid-back day around the ship. That evening's entertainment for me was another trip to the theatre, to see a showcase of Freddie Mercury and Queen songs by what can only be described as a superfan. She put on an excellent performance, and you could really see the passion she had for the star, and with the show acting as a good end to the holy festivities for us, as the next day we would need to be up early for our arrival into our first port of call, the port of Punta Arenas in Chile. And that's where I'll leave this video, by wrapping up my thoughts of cruising at Christmas with Princess. If you were just a couple like me and my wife, it was perfectly fine. They did have things on offer for families. To be honest, if you're travelling with kids, there are other lines that I would choose well before Princess. And when you think of the extra premiums that are often needed to be paid out for the chance to sail at Christmas, it's probably not really worth it. For me anyway. So all that remains to be said is thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this third part of my trip report and my thoughts of cruising at Christmas with Princess, and see you next time.